So research has shown that kids can have negative effects by using social media. It can be emotionally and sometimes physically harmful for them. So how much should parents be involved in a child's social media life to make sure that they stay safe and stay emotionally healthy? This is a big topic. And joining me now is parenting coach Casey Bree Jensen. Great to have you here this morning.
Happy
All right. So talk about the emotional impacts that social media can have on children, because so often, you know, you're spending time on social media, and even as an adult, you kind of get this FOMO, that fear of missing out a little bit, and I imagine it probably is double for kids.
Right. I mean, if you imagine being a teenager is so hard, if we can even think back to when we were teens, and then you add the fear of missing out, you add seeing your friends doing different things, you see all these celebrities and you start to want what they have, you know, and a lot of times we'll see our teenager going through emotional, maybe anxiety or depression, and sometimes teenagers go through those things. I'm not saying it's always social media, but a lot of times if you take it back a notch and go look at their Instagram, their Snapchat, and see that maybe they're being cyberbullied. Maybe people are reaching out to them and they're strangers and they're saying negative things to them, or they're wanting to get them to do different things. And so they're having an emotional effect on our teens, and we don't really know. We just see the surface layer, we see the emotion, and we don't go back to the stem of it, and it could be something that's going on their phone.
I think we as parents know that we should be, at the very least, keeping an eye on what they're doing on social media. So how do we get that conversation started with our teen about what's going on social media and the dangers that you just presented?
Yeah, I think it's really important to be open with our teen. I don't think it has to be either stay out or dive in secretively. I think there's a balance of having that communication and explaining that their phone has access to the world. It's not a diary. I know parents sometimes think, I don't want to invade their privacy, and teenagers say, stay off my phone, don't, you know, there's this whole conflict. But the thing is that what they're posting is out to the world. So we as parents should be the first people to know what they're putting out there. And just like we're wanting to know what's going on in their school life, in their friend life, in their activity life, that's the same thing as on social media, and then some, because it's basically like having the phone number of anybody in the whole world. And anyone in the whole world, if the privacy settings aren't set up, has a contact to your child. So having that clear communication, understanding what a device is, starting there, and then going through the Snapchats, the texting with your child there, and just starting the conversation.
Yeah, and maybe the first question would be, how the heck does the Snapchat thing work?
Yes.
I don't even understand it. So when you begin that conversation, you don't want to come in and be the Gestapo and say, this is over, you're giving me your passwords, and I'm going to be in there.
You're going to lose it right then.
That's right. So there's a fine line there, right?
Yes, that's why sitting down with your child, explaining why, I always say, like, the why behind the what. Why this is dangerous for you if you don't know how to handle it. I mean, it really is a danger. Like you said, it's an emotional danger. It's also a physical danger, because there are things going on out there that, I mean, for example, there was a trend lately to play a game that ended up going to suicide. And granted, that's extreme, but there are these things going on. And so having a conversation, this is why we're talking about this, and I'm going to help you make sure we have safe boundaries, and setting up those, you know, first of all, on the device, going through making sure privacy settings are set up, making sure that all the apps that are appropriate are on or off the device, and that those privacies are set up, and then just telling your child, you know, I mean, there's so much information to go into, but just start that conversation. You know, right there with them.
Because we always talk about peer pressure. It was horrible when we were teens. Now with social media, it's even worse. So real quick, if we notice changes in our kids' behavior, if we know that they're having some pressures, and we suspect maybe it has something to do with social media, what do we do?
Again, sit down, have that conversation, and definitely don't be afraid to look at the phone. If they're giving you pushback, you know, I say we're not going to throw our kid into the ocean if they don't know how to swim. But that's what we're doing with social media. Here's your phone. Hope you figure that out. And sometimes if we see our child out in the waves and they're drowning, we're going to jump in, get them, save them, teach them how to swim. We're not going to put them back out there again. And so with social media, if they're drowning, as much as they push back, teach them how to swim first. go through and comb through the DMs, the direct messages, comb through the text messages, see who's contacting your child.
Okay.
Sometimes we have to go into that survival mode and respect your child through communication as much as you can.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, Casey Bree Jensen, thank you so
Yeah.
much. And the website is letstalkteens.com.
Yes.
And right now there is a promo code 20% off a social media and cyber safety workshop. And you can head to letstalkteens.com/workshops and enter the promo code Q13Fox.